What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and for those of you who do not know, yesterday around 8 p.m. the Red Sox had some pretty important decisions to make. That time and date was the deadline for the Red Sox and all of Major League Baseball to decide if they were going to give contracts to their arbitration eligible players. Basically, they were making cuts, right? If you did not want to pay this player or bring this player to arbitration, you could non-tender them, which means that they become a Major League free agent, are free to sign with whatever team they would like. For the Red Sox, that meant making some really tough decisions, and they did exactly that. As you can tell by the thumbnail of this video, as you can tell from the title of this video, they made some really interesting choices, and not just choices as to who to cut, but choices as to who to keep as well, because that may be the more interesting part of these decisions. And that's what we're talking about today. We are talking about who the Red Sox decided to let go, who the Red Sox decided to keep, how this affects the 2023 offseason, and how this is going to affect the 2023 Red Sox in general. But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. So we're sort of going to go least interesting to most interesting here in this video, and not that any of these aren't interesting, but some are easier to explain than others. And we're going to start by talking about the two guys that did not get contracts, who were released and became a free agent. The first was Franco Cordero, and man, I really liked Franchy as a person, and I kind of liked watching him play at some points. It was always entertaining. You never knew what you were going to get. There were moments in 2022 where he was absolutely fantastic, and there were moments in 2022 where he seemed like he was not even close to Major League ready. It was all over the place with Franchy, but at least it was entertaining to watch. At the end of the day, this move does make sense to me, right? When you're talking about where Franchy fits in this Major League roster, you've got enough guys in the outfield and you're looking to add more, so Franchy ends up as your fifth, sixth possible option for the outfield. On the infield, he can really only play first base, and I use play really generously because he was not good at first base. Looking at the Major League roster, you've got Casas, you've got Eric Hosmer. They're looking at guys like Jose Abreu. Christian Arroyo can fill in if he needs to. So you don't really have a spot for him on the Major League roster. And he was never able to fully put it together in his allotted time in 2022 and in 2021 too. There were hints that Franchy could be a decent player, but it was just never there, right? His defense was pretty terrible. And offensively, there were moments where he was really great and a lot of moments where he just couldn't seem to figure it out. And that kind of sucks because there is still some potential there with Franchy in my eyes, not as an everyday player, but more sort of a bench utility type role. At the end of the day, the Red Sox did not want him on the Major League club, and it makes sense because there really wasn't a spot for him. They did offer him a minor league contract. He did not take it. He will be a free agent. One last thing I want to say about Franchy is that within 2022, he actually had one of the best moments of the year, and that was this walk-off grand slam against the Seattle Mariners. So Franchy, thank you for that. We will always remember that, and good luck. I hope you land with a team. As for the other person who did not get a contract, it was Chang. I don't know if a ton of you guys remember Chang. He was picked up a little bit later in the year to sort of serve as a utility bench role when we were really plagued with injuries. This one, it seems pretty obvious in my opinion. He was never exactly fantastic or spectacular with this team. He was a really solid defensive replacement, don't get me wrong, and he wasn't terrible with a bat either. But again, if you're looking at roster construction, roster spots, there just simply was not a place for him on this team. If he was able to play the outfield, but again, you have Rob Refsnyder if you're talking about bench depth for the outfield. On the infield, again, you have Christian Arroyo. Either way though, when you're talking about bench guys, you kind of already have your bases covered. And again, if you want to use those roster spots to bring in some legitimate improvements to this 2023 team, Chang just simply does not fit there. Again, another guy who seems really cool. He was a great Twitter presence for the Red Sox. That's not normally something I say with any player, but he did have a great Twitter presence, and it's another guy that I hope does end up on another team. Let's talk about the players that are maybe more interesting because of the fact that they will be back in 2023. There obviously were more people than what we're going to be talking about today who did get contracts, but these are all sort of the obvious ones. The guys who are making an impact at the major league level, who we all kind of knew already were going to be offered contracts by the Red Sox and go into arbitration if it gets to that point. I'm talking guys who like Devers, Verdugo, Pivetta, Arroyo, Houck, those type of guys who we know are more than likely a part of this 2023 team, and that's not really something we need to go in depth about. But there are a couple of players who we do need to talk about. The first that was surprising to I think a lot of people was Josh Taylor. Now Josh Taylor was surprising to most people because he has not played in over a year, right? He has had back issues throughout the entirety of 2022. He did make a couple of rehab stints in the minor leagues, but he never seemed to truly get back to where he was before, and it may seem like Josh Taylor may have lost a step in his fastball and in his movement. But if you dig a little bit deeper, it does make sense why the Red Sox would want to take a chance and offer Josh Taylor a contract. The biggest reason, in my opinion, is the fact that he is a lefty, right? Our pen right now is completely deprived of legitimate, consistent lefties, with Matt Strahm becoming a free agent and us sort of parting ways with any other lefty that was in the pen in 2022. Having a guy who does have the potential to be a legitimate lefty option going forward does make a pretty decent amount of sense, and that's the exact other reason why I think the Red Sox took a chance on him, and that's the fact that in 2021 he was really good. He was a fantastic piece in this bullpen. He was consistent and he got the job done really well. So if you're the Red Sox and you're looking at contracts, you're looking at the lack of depth for lefties in our bullpen, why not take a chance on a Josh Taylor who's probably going to sit right around $1.5 million in arbitration, nothing crazy, and could have some really huge potential to be a anchor lefty in that Red Sox bullpen. So to me, this one on the surface a bit surprising because of the fact that he is just simply an injury prone person right now and is a huge question mark going into 2023 as to whether or not he will be able to pitch. The reward that you have attached to him as well, that potential that is there, is definitely worth the $1.5 million risk. Now let's get to the one I think we've all been waiting for. If you know who got contracts yesterday and who didn't, you've been waiting for this part, and it is that Ryan Braiser, it got a contract yesterday. He was tendered a contract, meaning he will more than likely be on the 2023 Boston Red Sox. Now, in most of my videos, I try really hard, even if I don't fully agree with the Red Sox move, to see it from all angles, to take a look and see what sort of positives can we take away from this situation. And I'm going to be totally honest with you guys, I do not know why Ryan Braiser is still on the Boston Red Sox roster. I try to look at it from, hey, he's a veteran. He was on the last World Series. He knows what it takes to be a bullpen arm in a big situation. If that's the case, then you have Matt Barnes, who in my opinion was a more important piece throughout the last couple of years and is a better veteran presence in that Red Sox bullpen. And even if you don't want Matt Barnes being a veteran option, you have all of these relievers on the open market who have pitched in big markets, in big games, and that are going to be solid on the field as well. So to me, the veteran presence doesn't make any sense. The Red Sox, Alex Cora, we've heard rumors of the front office talking about Ryan Braiser's peripherals and how there should be some positive movement in his statistics and that maybe he's getting a little bit unlucky with his pitches and stuff like that. But at the same time too, just use the eye test, right? I don't think it's peripherals. I don't think it's unluckiness that Ryan Braiser was getting bashed around. It was the fact that he could not locate his pitches, right? It seemed as though in late innings, especially in late innings, Ryan Braiser would come in with a really critical situation and groove a fastball down the middle only to get taken real deep, or 5 hits, 4 runs later, and he's out of this game. To me, that doesn't make a ton of sense. My biggest problem with the Red Sox bringing back Ryan Braiser is the fact that it really makes it feel as though they aren't truly trying to improve this bullpen. And the reason I say that is because over the last couple of years, it's not just 2022, the face of this Red Sox bullpen has been inconsistency, right? Even in 2021, when we had that crazy run, the bullpen was inconsistent. You never knew what you were going to get, and that should be something they are looking to fix in 2023 and beyond. The face of that inconsistency, in my opinion, was, you could say, Matt Barnes, but for the most part was Ryan Braiser, especially in 2022. Yes, there were great moments with Ryan Braiser. There were streaks where he was fantastic. He was a lights out bullpen arm, but there were the same amount, if not more, of weeks and months where he just wasn't consistent, where he could not get outs. And to me, that's the most important problem with this Red Sox bullpen. So the fact that the Red Sox have had 2 opportunities now to part ways with Ryan Braiser and have not really make me concerned. Does this mean that Ryan Braiser is going to be on the 2023 opening day roster? It doesn't, right? There are still a ton of time between now and opening day where if the Red Sox make moves, they could DFA him, they could trade him, they could just simply release him. They could do a lot of stuff with Ryan Braiser so that he's not on this 2023 roster. But the fact that they have held on to him when they've had 2 perfectly fine opportunities to not hold on to him leads me to believe that they are trying to put him on that 2023 team. And it's not just sort of a situation where, hey, worst case scenario, we have arms, we have Ryan Braiser, and if we let him go, we don't want to lose him to free agency. It just doesn't seem like simply that situation to me, because I don't know how eager other teams are going to be to pick him up. Listen, I don't normally rant like this about a player because for the most part, I like to be sort of neutral. I like to let you guys have an opinion and tell me what your opinion is in the comments. But this one, it just sort of rubbed me the wrong way. So let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think of all this? What do you think of the people who got tenured? What do you think of the people who didn't get a contract? What do you think of Ryan Braiser still being on the Boston Red Sox? I would love to hear your opinion down below. All in all, for me, I think that for the most part, these decisions make sense. I think that Franchy and Chang just simply were not going to fit on this 2023 Boston Red Sox roster, and allowing them to have other opportunities makes the most sense. I think taking the chance on Josh Taylor also makes sense. You have that super high upside, and again, if it doesn't work out, it's not like you're shelling out $10-11 million. It's in that $1 to $2 million range, and we all know what I think about Ryan Braiser. So again, let me know all your thoughts down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Plus, you made it to the end of this video, you might as well hit that sub button. You also might as well hit that like button as well. It helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the Red Seat.